Hello and welcome to In the Ethical Arena, the podcast and video series providing candid conversations with local public officials about the leadership, responsibility, and commitment linked to service for communities across South Florida. My name is Dr. Tony Andernon, and I am the Executive Director for the St. Thomas University Institute for Ethical Leadership. We are so proud to welcome you. Our host is Don Sleznick, an individual who continues to practice leadership and shape change with the people of South Florida after serving as the mayor of Coral Gables for 10 years. This episode, our podcast and video library, and the amazing perspectives our guests will be sharing create value for aspiring public leaders and those seeking to serve their fellow citizens to lead change for our world. And now, without further ado, I present Don Sleznick.
We are delighted to have Francis Suarez with us today in the ethical arena. Francis is the mayor of Miami, one of America's most important 21st century cities. He served on the city commission from 2009 until 2017, and since November of 2017 has now been the mayor of that city. He is, in fact, the first mayor of the city to have been born in Miami. He's a graduate of Florida International University and the University of Florida College of Law. Well, welcome, Francis. We're glad to have you with us today.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a privilege to be with you.
Well, it's our privilege to have you, and I know that this is a very busy time with elections and with all of the different concerns and, of course, the pandemic. But let's get right into the interview and ask you, what was your motivation to seek public office?
You know, it's interesting. My father was a public official. He was the first Cuban-born mayor of the city of Miami. We're the first father and son tandem in the history of the city. So I have to think that seeing him and growing up and watching him be the mayor and seeing him serve and seeing, you know, the impact that he had on our city and the impact that he had on so many people's lives must have been a huge influence on me. And then when I became a private practicing attorney, I moved into a neighborhood like everybody else, started paying taxes, was a victim of a robbery, got involved in my homeowners association, and little by little, I realized that in life, you have two choices. You can be part of the solution or you can complain about the solution. And so I wanted to be part of the solution. And when the commissioner from my area decided to run for mayor, I thought it was a good opportunity. I was young. I was in a place financially where I could do it. Didn't have children at the time, so I had the extra time. And was fortunate enough to win in a very hotly contested election that I won by 262 votes.
And by the way, 262 is just enough. So that was great.
Just enough.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned, of course, your dad, who not only served as mayor, but is now on the county commission. But every mayor we've spoken to has mentioned their family as an influence and a great influence. And I presume that now with your wife and children, they continue to be an influence on how you serve in public office.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, certainly I want to make them proud. I want to make sure that whatever legacy I leave, it's a legacy that they can inherit and really be proud of, and will make the city a city that serves their interest, creates an economy that they can all, and many Miamians can benefit from. And that's my vision. You know, I really want to, bring diverse economies like the tech economy. We just saw Blackstone decided they wanted to move their headquarters here to Miami, which I think was a huge get for our city. So those are the kinds of things that I focus a lot of my time and energy on, making sure that our city is safe, making sure that our children can be educated and have all kinds of educational opportunities, and that we're attracting new industries from across the globe to be here in Miami.
Well, you are part of a young breed of public leaders, and certainly are making your generation proud of you. How would you describe your leadership style?
You know, I'm a transactional attorney. And transactional attorneys have a tendency to be bridge builders. They, sometimes when you're a litigator, you have this sort of I'm right, you're wrong mentality. As a transactional attorney, you want to bring everybody to the table, and you want to make sure that the deal closes so that everyone can do well and be happy about it. So we have a nature of conciliatory. I like to get things done. I'm very, I like to look back and say, what have I accomplished? So I'm very, I want to create accountability. to the things that I do, and create goals and hopefully reach those goals. So that's sort of my nature. I try to be friendly. I like to treat people with respect. I think civility in politics is something that needs to be restored. I think it's important not only what you do, but how you do it. And I think it is important. I mean, I changed our oath of office to have a civility pledge for new elected officials. And I really think that's something that as a country, we need to do a better job in, because if we're not civil as leaders, then how can we expect our residents to be civil with each other? And that's a big issue for me.
Well, I know that you are the chief executive officer of a very diverse city. So I
Absolutely.
would think that what you have just said is very important, of trying to bring people together and working together.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, our city is incredibly diverse, and I think we have that's a strength for me, from my perspective. So I think a leader should be someone that can coalesce that diversity and get it moving in a single direction to create positive change in the community.
Well, also you mentioned the nation and civility in the nation. I know that you're very active nationally in mayors organizations. And do you find that that really, in fact, helps you bring back ideas to the city and bring back concepts that you can utilize locally?
I do. It's actually funny. I was on a panel this last week at the Pritzker Forum, and one of the panelists was one of my colleagues, the mayor from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Bill Peduto. And he said, there's three parties in America. There's Republicans, there's Democrats, and then there's mayors, you know? And, I thought that was funny, but I thought it was really good too. I really feel like our objective is to solve problems. We don't really care what side of the ideological spectrum those solutions come from. And oftentimes we'll talk with each other and we won't know maybe for several months what political party we belong to, because the language is so similar. So I've been blessed, as you said. I'm going to be the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors in 2022. I'm currently the second vice president of the organization. It's over 50 mayors nationally. It's the most prestigious organization of mayors in the country. And so, I've been blessed that at a young age, and being relatively less experienced maybe than some of my other colleagues, they felt that they could trust me with the reins of such a prestigious organization. So for me, I think it's a testament to our city, where we are right now, and I think it's a testament to, like you were saying, to my leadership style, which is modeled on my predecessor, Steve Benjamin, as a guy who collaborates, and treats people with kindness and respect.
Well, I think that's awfully important to the citizens of Miami, and I certainly know that that will make them proud of their mayor. Well, let me, in this day and age, being in public office is tough. It's tough because of the ethical issues that face us on a daily basis. How do you face these issues? What do you do to address ethical concerns that you have about items that come before you, or problems that you need to resolve?
Yeah, and in my case, I'm a practicing lawyer, still as a mayor, uh, because of the role of the way our government is structured. So, I have to make sure that the firm doesn't represent anybody that could go before the city. If the firm does represent someone, then obviously I have to recuse myself. But there's all kinds of ethical dilemmas that you run into as a public official that you have to be very careful with. Friends and family members who want to influence you. You have situations where you have a contributor, and even though maybe it's not unethical, you have ethics is oftentimes the minimum standard of conduct, right? And I think we have an obligation to go beyond just the minimum standard, and to make sure that our decisions are not unduly influenced by someone just because they contributed to your campaign, but are in fact what you believe to be the best for the residents that you serve. That doesn't mean that you don't listen to those people. That doesn't mean that you don't give them an opportunity or access to convince you or to influence your decision. But at the end of the day, you have to have the integrity to make the decision on the basis of what's best for your residents. And it all works out in the end, because I think sometimes we feel this pressure for whatever reason. And, listen, people who are, for example, lobbyists, they win some, they lose some, they're always around, they're going to have other clients. So they may be on the losing end one day and the next day they're on the winning end and they're happy with you. So, you just got to take that with a grain of salt. And I've been able to be an elected official for now. I'm in my, going into my 12th year, and I've, obviously done it in a way that is something that I want to make my family proud of my service and not have any ethical stains on the years that I've tried to give back.
I think that you raise an excellent point about there are minimum ethical standards, and then there's the ethical standards that you yourself want to meet, which of course helps distinguish between legal ethical standards and spiritual ethical standards, if you will. What's in your soul?
Absolutely. And again, on that, I've been blessed to see elected officials like you and my father and many others that have come before me who raised the bar. And the truth is that, in today's day and age where everything you do is memorialized, right? For everyone to see forever, basically, you really have to think about life in the prism of your parent and what do you want your kids to be reading about you in, I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, what do I want them to be seeing when they Google my name in 5 years or in 10 years when they get a little older. And that's always in the forefront of my mind when I make decisions, whether they be private or public.
Very well said. And before we close this out, and I know that you've got a busy day ahead of you, as always, you have any words of wisdom for our students and the Institute for Ethical Leadership, or the faculty of that institute, as a matter of fact? I think you've already given us a great deal of wisdom, but any closing comments or thoughts?
So my closing thoughts and comments would be to maintain a healthy spiritual life, whatever that means for you. I'm not here to preach about any particular faith or ideology. I do think it's important if you're a believer in a faith or ideology, to really focus on that and work on that. I also think it's important to surround yourself with people who make you strive to be better. And I think, I gave a couple of examples in yourself and my father and so many others that have come before me. It's important that you have the right role models, right? And that you associate yourself with the right people. And I would say, lastly, seek advice. There are many, many organizations, whether it's the Florida Ethics Commission, the Miami-Dade Ethics Commission. I was blessed to participate in something called the Good Government Initiative in its inaugural class with Katie Sorensen, which I thought was phenomenal. It's a great tool on how to do your job better. So, there's Leadership Florida. There's all kinds of different Leadership Miami. There's all kinds of different organizations that allow you to grow. I was chosen by the Aspen Institute. I'm a Rodell Fellow. So there's a lot of opportunities to grow, and I think you should also seek those out. The learning is a lifelong process, and I don't think that it's something that you just stop doing because you reached a certain level of your life.
Well, Mayor, we really appreciate, in fact, you spending this time with us and offering your thoughts and your observations to the people, mostly our students and faculty who will be listening to this little podcast. And we wish you all the best, not only as mayor, but as president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. And we know that you're going to make the city and the citizens of that city proud. So thank you.
Thank you both. It's an honor to be on your podcast. And hopefully, whoever listens to it, if they get something out of it, they can reach out to me in my office and be happy to help and be a mentor for any of your students.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, from us here at In the Ethical Arena, that's a wrap. Another episode in the books. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and we want to say thank you to the mayor for the time, perspective, and leadership shared today. As we close, it's apropos to note that leadership is not about knowing. It's about doing. The mayor puts this into practice each and every day, and we want to say thank you for that. We hope that you've enjoyed this installment of In the Ethical Arena and hope that you join us again next time. This is Tony Indodoro signing off and reminding you that leadership is a process, one that cultivates action that will grow into amazing things for our world. However, we need you to plant that seed. Thanks so much for listening. Take care out there and have a great day.